You name it, we've lived it.
And are living it.
Brits moving from the UK all the way to Australia with not a pot to piss in.
A whirlwind romance sparkled on Tinder.
3 months in, pregnant, starting 2 now successful businesses through COVID.
To another 2 new businesses post-COVID, whilst juggling 2 young, spirited children.
Living worldwide, travelling and pure hustle. We are nothing short of batshit crazy, but motivated as fuck. We are here to tell you our story,
inspire,
teach,
and probably scare the crap out of you.
Uncut, raw and real. Welcome to Business, Babies and Banter
with Henry
and Jade. Welcome to Business, Babies and Banter. I'm Jade.
And I'm Henry.
And sorry again for the huge delay in podcasting. We're still not in a permanent home in Bali. We're moving into our permanent one on Thursday. It's now Monday. The children were off school, the holidays. Yeah, it's been wild, hasn't it?
Yeah, they don't just do English holidays or Australian holidays in Bali. They do Bali holidays and Australian holidays. So they had holidays and there was Easter. So it's basically just been
Paying for school and they're not at fucking school.
Yeah, pretty much. So the podcast does take a back seat when we're so busy.
It's really hard. We're still getting in the routine, but we spoke about themes and what we wanted to talk about. And we always like to have it really varied for you guys, you know, being the element of business, babies and banter. The banter is just us ripping it out of each other. But the business and babies is all tied in. And so one thing that we thought was an amazing subject was leadership and how this translates throughout your whole life. Now, leadership for me is not just about, you don't have to own a business to be a leader. You can be a more senior employee. You can be, you know, leadership is parenting, right? Leadership is like leading by example, problem solving, taking full accountability for your life. And so I thought it was so relevant within the Business Babies Banter podcast to speak about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can be a leader. It doesn't have to be in business or a team. Like there are some people who are leaders in the public eye and social media because they have a belief or a trajectory in where they believe that things should be done a certain way, and then they have a voice and they aim to inspire people.
100%. And I think for everyone who is actively seeking to live their very best life, to improve, to grow, to build success at any varying level, you need to innately become a leader in some way, shape or form. You will never reach your full potential until you are acting and delivering everything that you do to an exceptional standard like a leader.
Yeah.
And I think that's the main thing. This is not just for business owners. This is for anyone that wants to build success, that wants to build freedom, that wants.
It's all small elements that you can look back on and be proud of. I think the big thing for us was, yes, there was an element of, you know, being a leader for staff, employees, clients. But then when you have children, it's like, well, you're the leader of the family. You know, you want to lead people. There's children are watching you. And then there's, you know, as your parents get older and you're looking after their family, are you the leader of your clan? Are you the leader of your bloodline? And, you know, that's not just a masculine thing. That's also a female thing as well. You lead. Your parents always look up to you. They're always asking you, this is what's happening. What would you do? You know, and you can look back at life and be like, was I that person that took responsibility and became a leader in many, many, many ways? Or was I someone that took the back seat?
And also just the backseat in like, you need to be in the driver's seat of your life, right? So I talk to my coaching clients about this a lot. And I think we can spend a lot of our lives in autopilot, not being present. And you're actually just in the passenger seat. And life's happening around you. Life's going to happen. Sorry about the cockerel. I don't know if you heard that. They're the fuckers that keep us up all night. Life is going to happen with or without you, right? It's going to be, life will keep moving and you can be empowered. You can be leading. You can be guiding. You can be self-analyzing, bettering yourself in the driver's seat. Or you can just be the fucking passenger that's the victim, that's wondering why things happen or how they turned out like that, that's disempowered. So Henry, tell us what leadership means to you, because it's such a vast thing. There's no right or wrong answer, but what does it specifically mean for you?
I've never thought of it as in what it specifically means for me. I've never actually thought of it as a, to describe it in that way. But I think when I analyze myself as a leader and leadership, I think there are areas where I am a leader. I think there are areas where I do lead by example, but there are also areas where I'm not necessarily, what did you say, passive in life, cruising, taking a back seat, like, the social media thing and personal branding. Like, I could be so much more vocal in what I know, my beliefs, my passions, and be more of a leader to people, especially, dads, people who are doing business and children, but I don't. And that could be an area where I'm not necessarily.
Tuck in your hand. He's going like this every 5 minutes. Stop doing it. Because you make it.
Body language.
Yeah, you,
Being leader, use your
yeah, use your hands, but don't
body
fucking
language,
tap the table.
facial expressions, hands. What do you want me to do? Sit here with my hands in my pockets?
No, but stop tapping the table.
If I was told. So yeah, I would say that being a leader, I think what we said at the start, it's all encompassing. It's how you handle yourself in every aspect of your life. Are you going to look back when you're on your deathbed and you know that you're going to die and go, I'm proud of who I became and what I did? And if you think to that moment and you can't say, yes, I'd be proud, then you're not being a leader or being true to yourself. And I know that's really deep and spiritual and quite a bit of a deep
Bit Jade Crosland coaching that.
But ultimately, everyone's going to die one day. And when you're at that moment where you're about to die, that's when you're going to have the realization of either regret or happiness that you've really fulfilled and done the best you could and became a person that you were proud of. And I think that's something that now that we've got children, I flick in and go, if I died tomorrow, am I living my life to the fullest? Am I appreciating things? Am I being the best leader? Am I doing everything correctly? And that's...
Yeah, 100% is how I view it. Just for those of you that don't know or don't follow Henry's personal Instagram, he's got fucking 10,000 followers. Never, literally, he's like, we always laugh about influencers, side note, but I'm like, we could be influencers, mate. We could be getting the free meals, the free products, but Henry's just sitting on his 10K followers doing sweet FA.
Too distracted on social media. I take too long to write a post. And I can't, and then I go on social media and I end up getting distracted and scrolling.
It does.
And I've got too many goals at the moment that are so big that I don't have time to spend on social media.
Fair comment.
But I will do it one day. And then the story will be a magnificent story.
A magnificent fucking story. And the caption will take 3 years to write. But no. Yeah, for me, I feel like leadership, is all those things. It's taking full accountability is what stands out in my mind, because everyone's learning and growing. It doesn't mean that you have to have all the answers at all the perfect times. It doesn't mean that you don't make mistakes. It doesn't mean that you are some superhuman or, more qualified than anyone else. Actually, everyone's on a level playing field. Leadership is about self-analysis and taking full accountability for the experiences that you have, the choices that you make, and the actions that you take consistently. And that is for me, across the board, whether you are a business owner, a mom, a dad, someone that's just looking to forward their career, an employee, whether you're new, that is what leadership is in your life. And I think so many people are just in the passenger seat. They're not taking accountability. They're reactive rather than directive.
So why do you think then that some people who have the credentials to be, well, everyone's got the credentials to be,
Everyone.
and just because it doesn't mean to say that you have to have a loud voice or be vocal.
That helps if you do.
Aggressive, because you can be a leader in many, many, many ways. But why is it that some people who have the potential to do it or the ability to do it or a skill set or something special but don't?
I would say past traumas, anxiety, lack of self-belief, lack of presence.
And would you say that
mindset?
Would you say that's something that's been nurtured into them through the schooling system, through the social media, through TV, through what they're put in their brains, or is it that?
I think a bit of fucking everything. I don't think you're naturally born hindered. Yeah. Okay, we're going to say that. No, you're not naturally born. Some people are born with disadvantages, right? Natural disadvantages, wealthy families versus non-wealthy families. But if you really want to go down that path, arguably the people that are born into privilege, sometimes it's actually harder for them because they don't know the struggle, they don't know the hustle, they don't know or appreciate things as much. On the other hand, you have people that are born more disadvantaged, and they either thrive and flourish, or they become a victim of life and they're like, oh well, I never had those opportunities, or this was really hard. Well, we're lucky enough, and the majority of people that are listening to this and have access to this, if you had a basic education where you can read, and you have some kind of electronic device where you can access now social media, an abundance of information, libraries, you are able to self-educate, you are able to access the world in your hand. You are able to reevaluate your life at any given moment. Every single day is a new opportunity. So being like, oh well, I'm 40 now and it doesn't matter, and I fucked up and I've been negative my whole life. Well, today's the change. Wake up tomorrow and make a change. There's no better time than right now, and everything that you could possibly need to become a leader, to become a better person, to have a better mindset is actually at your fingertips. You don't need any money.
But that's where, to become a leader, it starts with your own battle with yourself.
Yes.
Because I think, you mentioned there, self-belief, anxiety, all those sorts of things. Well, if you're someone that says, right, every day I'm going to get up, I'm going to go for a walk, I'm going to eat healthy, I'm going to read a book, I'm going to do this. If you do those things and you can say, yes, I've done it, I've done it, I've done it. You become a leader of yourself, and then you can
100%
start showing those things outside of just yourself.
So that's a good point.
Self-discipline and proving to yourself and promising yourself you're going to do certain things, then encourage leadership.
He's got the chickens getting all inspired. I don't know if you can unpack it.
They're clacking for it. I don't know if they're going to hear it. Joni can put the clacking in.
Yeah, but they're clacking in from the chickens. But no, yeah. So basically, in order to become a leader in any capacity, you first need to master the leadership of your life. You need to become the captain of the ship, the master of your fate. Like you can't. There's no room for anyone else, for blame, for full accountability, and what's the word, like structure of your day, your goals, your everything is actually what creates the path to be a leader. When I was younger, I don't know if you ever thought about owning business. I never really thought about. I had aspirations. I always had big dreams about material things that I wanted, or places I wanted to live, or the kind of lifestyle that I wanted. I'm talking like young, like, let's say from like 7, when you're like, I'm going to be a movie star, I'm going to do this. But I never thought I want to be a boss. I want to, like, the drive for that wasn't in me being able to be bossy or dictate to people or be on top of anyone. It was really just about wanting more for my life, wanting more for myself, and challenging all the status quo as they came to me, and re-diverting and self-educating and learning. And then that organically has put me into a leadership position, which
I was a leader since a kid, because I was always captain of the team at football ever since I was 6. And then I was a leader at school. I'm always the ringleader of all the naughty boys, the first one to get expelled.
Guess who else is a fucking ringleader, guys, as well? Hugo. We'll have to get a clip edited in of him singing on the mic. I like to move it.
That's what I didn't sing. It was emceeing the party.
He's going, yeah, come on, everyone. I was like, oh my God, we've created. It's an amazing human.
But, I think it's naturally, some people have it from a younger age, and I think I was quite confident from a younger age, and obviously was captain. But I was captain because, yes, I was able to be quite vocal, but I led by example in the terms of working hard,
yes,
being aggressive, tackling people, always being the one that stood up to be counted when it mattered.
Yeah. To be fair, when I think about it now, I was always I had like an outdoor not a doll's house, like an outdoor little cubby house as a little girl. I did have a doll's house though, but as a little girl, I had a cubby house. And I remember my mum showed me a video. It was in like the 90s when you had those old video cameras. And yeah, I would go in there and like I'd have my little friends round at like the age of 5, and they'd come in and I'd close the door and be like, nobody's allowed in here because I'm going to be making the food and you're playing the game where you collect the food. And my mum would be like, fucking hell, Jay, like, well, you got your friends round, just let everyone in the gummy house. So yeah, I was quite directive and a very confident child. And I think that's something that you can be born with, and I think but you definitely foster it and nurture it as well.
Mm.
Your environment and upbringing can greatly affect that, of course, but you can take control and empower yourself at any given moment to bet. And it doesn't mean that you have to be like loud or, a bit crazy. It just means that you have to take concise and mindful action towards who is it you actually want to become. Um, and then just fucking do it, because there's a lot of talk and no action. And also something that Alex Hormozy, because we always talk about him, is like consistency. So if you can consistently do anything like that's obviously positive, aligned with who you want to be for a long period of time, even through adversity and suffering, you're already 99, you're already going to win, because actually statistically most people can't endure adversity, risk, pain, or suffering for that long. So they'll just go back to what they know, whether it's old habits, old mindset, lack of belief, victim mindset, not upholding your diet, your routine. I'm going to read books, I'm going to be better. And you read the book for a week and then you fall off the bandwagon when you go back to drinking. Yeah, that is what you do. Yeah, 100% right. But luckily he's got me told and mechanical. So. But yeah, and so if you can just endure what most people can't on a very basic level, you're already in the higher caliber of people and performers. And that means just gunning for it. When we're talking about being an employee, if you want to get a promotion, you got to do more than your job.
Mm.
You can't turn up for work and do your job and then expect to be moved up,
But
because you're not presenting any attribute.
as a leader, the rest of the workforce or the colleagues or people in your team are going to look and go, well, this person does this every day like this. This is who they are consistently, and that ultimately is who you want to be leading the team.
100%. But also just leading, but as of a higher, not even leading the team, but in a higher position.
Mm.
Why are you going to be up for a higher position if you just come in and do what your job is? You need to consistently strive to be better, do more in your personal and professional life. And I think that translates directly to being a parent. Yeah, like all these parents that their kids just walk all over them. That's also a big issue. The children do need a leader. They need discipline. We won't go into kids' discipline, but like there's certain way that, the way that you do things, leading by example. Like our kids have a
They're scared of the belt.
no, they're fucking not. We would never bill our children. Oh my God. I can't even believe we just said that in the podcast. It was facts. But yeah, like they need to know that you are a leader. Like who's the boss of the house? All these self-entitled little shits that are like, telling their mum and dad to fuck off.
You look at all the little scum now that would go around robbing shops and stuff.
Yeah.
All the teenagers carjacking because they never got a fucking belt when they were young.
Henry, shut up. Oh my God, stop bringing out the belt word. Our kids have never been belted.
Like you could belt someone and hit them. They weren't
Belt you if you're not.
they weren't careful.
Stop.
They
Okay.
weren't reprimanded by their parents. The parents weren't leaders.
Annoying me, guys.
Sometimes a leader has to discipline.
Okay, right. Let's. We're not going to use the word belting. Yeah, we're going to move on. But the point is, it does come down to if you can't uphold high standards for yourself, if you can't be the leader of your life, how are you expecting to lead a family? How are they going to know? They need security. They need to feel safe. They need to be like, this is my, the alpha female and male that are going to look after me, that are going to be there to support me when I need them. And if you can't even support yourself or uphold a basic, standard to be better and do better, what are your children going to think? How are they going to learn? And this is so important. There's that saying, isn't it? It's like, heal yourself so your children don't have to heal your shit. And it's so fucking true. Work on yourself. Like you are the biggest and best investment that you will ever have in your whole life before your children. And so many people, they won't invest in themselves, or they won't even time-wise, not even monetary, because they're like, oh, I'd rather go out and have a drink, or I'd rather, I really want to save money and do this course, but fuck it, I'll just go on holiday instead. And we're talking about like your you as a human. You're the biggest and best investment that you'll ever have. Your mental health, your physical health is everything.
Ultimately, we started with leadership being something that people see as a big thing, when actually on a micro level, it's the most important thing for an individual.
Taking control and full accountability. And that is leadership.
That is leadership.
Full accountability. When we do talk about business, on that perspective, we're to blame for everything. And so we should be. There's all the levels, and you can say, oh, but this happened because of this person. At the bottom line, if your staff are completely out of alignment, aka they're doing things on a consistent level that is completely off the scale of what your mission, values, ethos, and service offerings are, as a product company or a service-based company, then you've hired the wrong person. It's your fault. If they are getting things wrong, communicating things wrong, have you nurtured them? Has there been a proper system and procedure documented and delivered to them in the right way to hold them accountable? Are you having regular meetings? If not, you know what I mean? Like on every level, it's full accountability.
But even if you are doing all those things, I think.
But then you have to fucking get rid of them. That's also your responsibility.
Yeah. Yeah.
Henry loves that. Henry gets overexcited sometimes. Like, right, that's it. Again, I'm like, just calm down. Calm down. Let's assess this a minute. He's like, no, we're not doing. It can be a bit cutthroat, but no. Yeah, I think we'll finish off with this, Henry. How do you? I know that you said you want to improve on like social media and stuff. What is something that you want to grow on as a leader, or tell us how you would promote to anyone that's listening that's like, I need to take more control of my life. Where would you say that they need to start?
Well, I think that's the reason why I haven't put so much time into social media, is because actually, to be responsible, I need to prioritize my time. And at this moment, if I was then to spend loads of time with social media, the opportunity and the growth and the opportunity that we have is not in social media. There's bigger opportunity in other things that we're doing, which requires my
internal bundling
and in-person running. Yeah. So, for me to sacrifice time that could be spent on doing other things that could be really productive to spend on branding, which is something that's going to take a long time. And there isn't instant growth or instant gratification from that just yet. It would be irresponsible of me, considering where we are in other phases and other things that are going on. So what I would say to some people is, well, what areas need prioritizing? If you're a fat person that eats shit and is really unhealthy, then guess what the first thing would be is?
Why do you have to make it so personal?
It is personal.
It's empowering.
It is personal. Yeah, and if you're someone that's, really healthy, but, you might be not sure which direction to go in, it might be about, personal development, reading books, going to a conference. We went to a conference when we first met.
I took you to a conference.
We went together.
You got free.
We went together.
Yeah, we went together. Yeah, and it changed your life, bro.
There you go. This is what I'm saying to the viewers. So, it might be something that, if you're
Meet someone on Tinder, take them to a conference, start a company. Get pregnant after 3 months. Sorry, can't. Yeah, no, conferences, investing, honestly.
So yeah, identifying, well, if you're thinking about, okay, well, if I'm being a leader of myself or my family or, my own inner being, what areas do I feel like I could improve on, or I'm not being the best version of myself I could be? And that would be the area that I would start first.
Mm. Yeah, I agree.
What about you?
I think identifying like just radical self-analysis would be where I would start, because it's very easy to blame. It's very easy to be like, oh, the reason I'm like this is because of this, or that's just who I am. That's just me. That's but I would be looking at myself and I'd be thinking every single experience that was occurring or had occurred in recent years that was negative or stressful or didn't work out well for me, I'd be reflecting upon those and thinking, okay, what was the lead up to this? How did my actions and decisions contribute to that outcome? What can I learn from it? And is there anything that I can find within myself that could have made that a better outcome for me? That's the first thing that I would do. Because if we can't identify the areas that we need to work on or take full accountability, then there's nothing there. And then from there, I'd be looking at, okay, so let's say hypothetically you realize that actually it's lack of confidence or anxiety is the biggest thing. You're super kind, over giving, but you're lacking confidence and anxiety. I'd be straight away looking at methods that I can resolve anxiety. Meditation, I'd be reading books about it. I would be doing affirmations. I'd be investing in a coach.
So I would then ultimately then, being a leader is taking action.
Yeah, and full accountability. But you have to take
Accountability,
accountability and action.
and following
Massive,
through.
massive action. And
Because a lot of people
constant
a
self,
a lot of people analyze and do that, don't they? Go, and this is what I need to do,
and they don't do
and
it.
then they don't do it.
They
But
don't do
that's not what a leader.
But it's also like self-analysis and accountability go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if you're not self-analyzing, but you're being accountable for some things, you might be missing a whole heap of things. You have to be constantly looking at yourself and asking, not why is this happening to me? What did I do to contribute to this being the outcome, and how can I learn from it? Every single day, every single interaction, experience, conversation. And then, you know, on a really deeper level, you can go all the way back. You can go back. Like, you know, if people are not nice to you and you're around people that are debilitating and, you know, passive aggressive towards you, well, why are they like that? How are you responding? What boundaries are you putting up or not putting up to get that result? It all comes back down to you.
So if you do want to start coaching with Jade, Tassel will be
No, that's not the
links in
angle.
the bio.
That is not the angle that I'm
You
taking.
ran down a life coaching route there. We're talking about these.
So did you, bro. So did you. By the way, we asked ChatGPT what the future holds for us, and it said that me and Henry are going to do some collaborative coaching stuff. And Henry was a little bit excited. He's trying to play it down, but he like secretly wants to be like a coach with me.
I don't know if the partnership would work very well.
Why?
You see things differently.
God, yeah, because Henry just believes in belting and discipline and reprimand. Anyway, thank you so much for listening, guys. I hope you got something from it. And next time we podcast, we will be in our new space. I'm going to set it all up, super profesh, good lighting, no chickens in the background for those of you that heard them. And we look forward to chatting to you then.
Ciao.
Bye.
Thanks for listening.
And hopefully laughing. Be sure to leave us a review, and if you're into the madness,
Check out the links below to follow our day-to-day journey.
stay tuned for the next episode.